Greetings, weary travelers. Come, warm yourself by the fire, and let us regale you with mighty tales, tales of adventure, tales of heroism, and tales of Tamriel. Got that run right. It's 2 shows in a row. Although, to be fair, I'm not entirely sure anyone heard the last episode, as it was a bit of a mess. As you might have noticed, we've been a little off schedule compared to our somewhat fixed schedule that we had a while back. Ark has started a new job. We've been doing 9 million things. Scheduling has been kind of rough, but this episode will not be nearly as drunk. Not entirely sober, but not nearly as drunk. So hopefully this one will be a little more acceptable. Coherent? Coherent, acceptable for the show. I believe Ark will be giving you the extra episode as some type of bonus. We'll have more details on that, but he's finalizing that. So Ark obviously isn't able to join us tonight, but so I am your host, LotusOfDoom, and with me tonight is HyperPixie.
Hello.
And once again, we have Baron Solo joining us as our resident DPS.
Hello there.
Although we did learn earlier that if you would just kill things, everything would go smoother.
God, if I would only just kill the things fast.
Just kill them. Just kill them and we don't have a problem.
Yep.
Everything would be solved.
We have all 3 roles covered on the show, and we're going to just summarize everything. Heal the shit, kill the shit, and I need to just keep its attention.
And hold the shit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, my job's gross. Anyway.
You just
touch it.
Ugh.
Just go up and touch it.
But, so the main reason we really didn't want to skip this week was yesterday, which was, what was it? Date was the 17th? Yeah, Friday the 17th. There was an ESO Live where they announced the Deadlands DLC for Q4. And that looked very pretty, but we've kind of also seen the Deadlands, so it was not totally revelatory. However, the main takeaway from yesterday is all of the updates and quality of life things, which are, I feel personally vindicated from the amount we complain about RNG.
God, yeah, that I heard about that and was just like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Yes.
So I woke up to your message about it, Lotus, and then whenever I wake up before Braun, and whenever he woke up, I immediately told him, because he's been bitching about having to refarm gear.
Okay, like I that is one of the things that I have always been, and as someone who's like, ESO is like my 5th MMO. Like I have played lots of MMOs.
Yep.
And like I know RNG, like it's in SWTOR, it's in WoW, it's in EverQuest, it's in RuneScape, it's in every fucking MMO I've ever played. But like just a little of consistency. Oh my God, I'm so fucking excited for that. Holy shit.
All right.
It's so nice.
So I guess this is kind of it. This is going to be mostly a news show, with just kind of like a little bit of tales at the end, and we can kind of just recap stuff. But mainly, this is the bulk of our show today is definitely all of the new stuff incoming. So we'll start with that, where to anybody who has not seen ESO Live, I definitely recommend going through, watching the VOD. Tons of content creators in the community have been giving their stuff. Hack the Minotaur actually has a great video and everything on his channel discussing the different parts, but there's lots of stuff. Skinny Cheeks has another great one. But to start off, we have long complained about RNG and how obnoxious it is, and with the upcoming change, gear will now drop based on what pieces are missing from your collection. Where they drop remains the same. So, like, if you need weapons or jewelry, they're still going to drop from the end boss. So you can't just farm the first boss over and over again and have it fill up. But each area seems like it has its own loot pool for the dungeon, which you would use to fill up the thing, or collection book, sticker book, whatever you want to call it. So essentially, you will eventually, and not even that long anymore, because, for example, how many times have we talked about like the VMA staff? Like, it just doesn't drop for people. Yep. Well, now it has no choice but to drop for people eventually.
276 runs.
There you go.
God.
Right in the group with us.
The number is burned into my brain.
So, how many weapon types are there? There's 4 staffs.
Fire. Yeah, 4 staves, and then the maul, axe, dagger, sword, great axe, the
normal
big
axe.
maul.
Yeah. So in the range of 10,
12 or 13 or
12,
something.
Okay, so whatever.
Something like that.
That means at minimum or at maximum, to complete the sticker book from VMA, it would be, we'll say, just to cover anything in case you might be 15 runs. No hundreds of runs. People will get their Medusa fire staffs, their staves.
Oh.
It's great. Like, this is
it's so nice.
One of, yes, another one Hazard brought up in chat, Sororia's.
Sororia Inferno.
Never have I, well, most of the time, light up a trial group when I'm like, hey, I got this fire stick of Sororia, who wants it? And people are like, oh my god, like you don't need it.
You got
and
one?
I'm like, no, I don't need it. I don't need this. Yeah. Which
Ron,
most
you didn't do the impression correctly.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I don't even need this. Except for that one group where I made the healer and one of the DPSs duel to determine who got it. They didn't like that. Well, the healer did not think that was funny. He's just like, well, how am I going to win this? Well, it's like, you're probably not, but if you really want it, you'll find a way.
You better swap on your PvP build.
Yep, just real quick. Like,
you don't have one, sucks to suck.
Yeah. So,
have you ever played the what's that tank set that the little Guardian dude jumps out and has a different color from a different stat?
Engine Guardian.
You ever done that game?
Yeah,
Engine Guardian.
Yeah.
That's something I used to do in one of my groups. We'd do the Engine Guardian game for who gets the somewhat you have to guess the color.
The color? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's always whatever. I can't use that set because whatever attribute I currently need, that is not the one he's going to give me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm short on magicka, stamina time.
Hey,
it's like, dude, why?
Speaking of RNG.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the first change. It is amazing. It's pretty consistent. There was some different questions about stuff. Really, this seemed unless I missed this pocket of the community, it seemed universally like, this is great. Everybody loves this. Yeah. The only thing that I saw a concern of, which also was rectified pretty quickly, was, that's going to make getting like jewelry mats harder if it needs to fill your sticker book up. And not so much, just because if you fill the sticker book, it just reverts at that point to total RNG. Like, once you have the sticker book full, it just pulls random items. So you'll still get
I don't know how the fuck other people are getting jewelry mats. Like, I do not get them from dungeons and trial.
Oh man, that's my bread and butter.
Like,
that's
I mean,
how I make most of my money.
Is it really?
Because
I mean, I do like deconstruct gold gear and like stuff like that. But maybe I don't do trials as much as I used to. But.
That's usually my go-to is the gold jewelry. And I just break it down and then make the chromium stuff. And because I'm not, well, the other difference is you do DPS. Tank sets don't change as frequently. So my gold gear tends to stay my gold gear. Like, when Saxiel was a thing that got dropped with Blackwood, I was like, oh my god, I can use something new. This is amazing.
I can use my mats.
Yeah, exactly. So that is just basically a universal bonus. It's great. The following one is the Armory, which is basically a modified version, I guess you would say, of the dressing room add-on. I don't know, Bron, have you messed with that add-on? Do you?
Yeah. Okay. So I run dressing room now. Dressing room and an alpha gear are the two for PC.
Okay. So do you want to give like a quick synopsis of generally the idea to that, and then we can compare it to what Armory is? Because I know they're similar, but they're not exactly the same.
Yeah, and I don't know too much about Armory. I heard about it, but hadn't specifically delved into it. But basically, dressing room and alpha gear function the same. It lets you set different sets of gear and skills together. So, like, for example, on my DPS tunes, I'll typically, I mean, when I get real sweaty about it, I'll go and do a different set for each trial and different types of ad pulls as well.
Yep.
For more bursty ad pulls versus longer ad pulls and things like that. But dressing room will allow me to set it and name the little thing too. So, like for dungeons, for example, I have a trash set that I wear, a regular boss setup, a burn DPS setup, and a mobile boss setup. I have a couple different setups, but basically just lets you set up gear and skills together on a hotkey.
Okay, so now I will kind of cover the idea of Armory, or at least what has been explained so far from Armory. This is going to PTS on Monday. No, is it Monday or Tuesday? I don't know, next week.
I think it's Monday.
I think it's Monday, but okay, next week. So all of the stuff we're saying is, subject to testing. Things might get better or worse.
Right.
Basically, the idea to Armory is similar in concept. On the flip side, it's a little different, as the first notable change and the only backlash that I have seen about it is when you are in a timed thing or PvP, you cannot use this. That's not how this works. So
yeah,
flipping the ad pulls, like you had mentioned, which is a thing that I know PC does.
Yep.
That's not how this works.
Ouch.
So all right. So first and foremost, you get one for free for your house. It's a station. It kind of looked pretty neat. I assume that's the model, but it basically looks like a workbench covered in armor and weapons. But
that's cool.
So you go to this in your house. You can set, just like you said, a image for that setup you want, build, whatever you want to call it. You put on your gear, you pick your attributes, you pick your CP. It accounts for whether you're a werewolf or a vampire.
Oh, it does CP too.
It does CP, and so which is one of the things that I heard is a good thing comparatively. So you can save different.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Dressing room or Alpha Gear doesn't do that.
Okay, so that's, I guess, one note for this instead. It supposedly does your CP, and it'll flip you from being a werewolf to a vampire werewolf. It can cure you or what? Yeah, so that's
sure. Does it infect you too? So you don't have to go get
from
reinfected?
my understanding, yes.
That's cool.
If you have it leveled, that was my understanding. And to T-Dub's point, it seems cost free, which is just by default. Okay, cool. I don't want to be a vampire. I'm just
I mean, outside of even gear setups and stuff like that, just the ability to flip flop between vamp and not vamp. That's nice.
Yeah.
Specifically for Rockgrove.
Yes, very specifically for Mistgrove.
Yeah.
So, very cool features. There are a couple drawbacks. One which mentioned in chat from Isha, they're currently supposedly working on it though, so this may actually be fixed in the long run. For whatever reason, out of all those things we just said that it does not adjust your Mundus Stone.
Yeah, I wonder if that has something to do with because they have the Mundus Stones as ground purchase items.
And it's funny you say that because you are not the only person who suggests that.
Yeah.
So you might be onto something.
Because it kind of nullifies that.
It sort of does. And the other one that it would nullify would be the vampire werewolf. But everyone, that is the joke of the community. Nobody buys that. And if you're new to the game,
who buys that?
No matter how toxic people are, nobody will let a new player go and buy that.
No one's gonna purchase vampire. Yeah, just go here and ask for it.
Correct.
Someone will find you eventually.
Right. So
please don't pay 300 or 500 crowns or whatever.
Exactly. So that might be a thing. You might be onto something. I've heard that from several circles.
From a business standpoint, it makes sense. Why do something that because those things are 3,000 crowns too. So they're not cheap.
Right. So remains
people
to be
want
seen
those for guild houses.
Right. And so it remains to be seen whether that will be adjusted based on feedback or if there's just a technical reason why it wasn't working.
Yeah, that could be it.
But
Since it's a buff and not like
right, because you
CP or,
interact
like,
with
any of
it.
that, because it's
The only
it's
it's
like CP is a menu, your gear's a menu, and like that. So it might be easier to do that versus you have to go to something and interact with something to get said buff or boon or whatever. It may be technically weird to do.
So that's the first kind of drawback. The second one, which I personally don't have a problem with, but I did see in a few of my guilds, you need to have the gear in your inventory. It cannot be in storage chests. It has to literally be on you.
That's the same for dressing room.
Okay, so
You're
then
muted,
that's
baby.
not even different.
Yeah, I was about to say exactly what I was muted, but I was about to say exactly what Braun did was both the Mundus thing and the gear needs to be in your inventory thing is the same thing as dressing
room.
Well,
Okay.
and I would assume it's a technical, because instead of like, I know dressing room operates on the like, well, it's something they can queue up inputs for in the add-on to like go to inventory to find this thing, to get this thing. But if you're not near a banker, it's not going to be able to go get the thing from your bank, put it in your inventory, and then equip it to your tune.
To be fair, that makes sense to me. Like, I don't know. I guess by default, I just assumed it would have to be in my inventory. And
Same.
Yeah.
I would assume that.
So
yeah.
what
gear has to be on you in order to put it on.
Right. You can't put on pants at your house if you're at work. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
Like,
I got my new underwear at home. Something happened at work. I need to sweat my pants out real quick.
I got my period at work. I just need to
it's just a emergency switch.
Emergency swap real quick. Yeah.
So yeah, again, I heard some complaints about that, but personally to me, I was like, okay, I kind of just assumed that was the case, so that one didn't bother me. By the way, there's going to seem like a lot of these. You can pick and choose if any of these bother you, because
and choose your complaint.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was kind of funny that a lot of people were kind of like, really, you don't have any I actually have no problem with any of.
We're getting
armor.
shit.
Well, it's all
like,
this is all base game quality of life stuff too. You don't need the DLC supposedly to have access to these. It's just part of the game. So, pretty solid feature. Not like an ESO Plus thing or anything like that. So the next thing is you can have. So you start with 2 setups. You have your main setup, you have a second setup. You can get up to 10 setups. However, after 2, they are purchased in the Crown Store. That one didn't seem like it went over nearly as well. So I also don't know how much the others cost. So,
I mean, if it's like 20 crowns or like 50 crowns, like, I guess that's not a big deal.
If it's less than 1,000 a piece, I would be kind of shocked. Like, based on previous pricing. Like, if I were to guess, honestly, I bet it might be about the same as like if you were to do a name change or a buying an alt. Yeah. Like, what is that? 1,500, right? I think.
Yeah, it's 1,500 for a character slot, and the name change. I know the name and race
outfit slots. That's another one, and those outfit are apparently those are 1,500, which I could. I think if that's the standardized kind of price,
I don't know. I think if this had never been an add-on, it wouldn't feel as gross as it does.
I'd understand
that. It feels gross because it's an add-on.
That's
already,
the thing,
right?
PC players can do it for free, but console players have to pay for it.
That's where it feels a little gross.
Which I definitely get that mentality. The reason I personally don't have a problem with this, and I mean you can have your own takes on this, is because of crown gifting. I buy everything in gold anyways, so I'm going to spend $0.00 and buy 10 slots.
That's fair. And I guess because you can't even switch in the middle of a trial anyway.
You cannot, right.
Really what I think this would be used for, at least what I'm thinking I would use this for is like on a tune to swap between, like I swap between Magicka and Stamina all the fucking time on my main. So like swapping between Mag and Stam, easy. Or swapping between like Tank and Healer if you have a tune that you've leveled all the skills on. Because you're not swapping between a trash and a DPS set. So
Right. So with me, since I just kind of have my one character and then I have like Arkaniir, who's just a joke character, I'll fill in if people actually need like a mediocre DPS for something. But I want to be able to switch between PvP and PvE.
And then that's huge.
If I'm doing an arena, because that's honestly, I got my Flawless Conqueror and I was like, oh shit, like that was, I managed to knock that out with my bullshit werewolf build a lot quicker than I expected.
Yep.
And I got through Vatashram and I'm like, Vatashram, honestly, I don't even die until the end boss on the BS
like
werewolf build.
Vatashram's easy.
Yeah, and on top of that, I don't have I don't need to bother with the sigils. The big problem for me as somebody who does not main a DPS is doing it fast enough to get the trifecta. I can do 2 of the 3. I'm not so hot at the trifecta thing because I'm not very good at speed. So I was like, well, whatever, I'll just practice it. Problem is, changing my CP, changing my gear.
Attributes.
Got to change all my attributes. Got to switch. And honestly, to be fair, I was so lazy when I got my Flawless Conqueror. I did not re-attribute my character. So I was a werewolf with 44 health, 10 magicka, and 10 stamina. And I was like, that was my approach. Because I was like,
that's hilarious.
I was like, oh, I don't want to do that too. So whatever. Again, I always stress, it's not the person in this situation, it's the build. It's totally broken. Never fix it. Awesome. But the Flawless Conqueror doesn't have a time thing. So I could slow roll the crap out of that thing. And I did. It took me 1 hour and 17 minutes, but I beat it without dying.
You got it.
So it was like, whatever. This one, I need to be flawless. Oh, and also do it fast. So I would ideally want to optimize a few more things. It's so tedious. So I stopped. I did it like 3 or 4 times. And I was like, yeah, I'm getting quicker. And I'm still not dying. Or if I have a death, it's totally something stupid that I did from rushing. But I stopped practicing because I was like, I don't want to go from like most of the time I'm just tanking. And it gets annoying to have to switch all that crap. And then if somebody needs me, can you quickly fill in for a trial or a dungeon or something like that? If I just spent 10 minutes changing all that garbage over, I do not then want to spend 10 minutes changing all that garbage over to go help somebody. So it was a huge turnoff. This theoretically for me would be great because I could just flip. It's good.
I know, especially since I jump back and forth between SPC and Hollow and Rojo, it's really, really nice to be able to like utilize add-ons like dressing rooms.
Yeah.
To jump back and forth, even like same role, like not even jumping from healer to
just
DPS.
Set it up how you want it.
Exactly, especially for supports, it's super important. And it just makes it so much easier and less time consuming.
Right. So definitely like the feature. I personally don't mind that you can't do it in combat. I know a lot of my trials teams were kind of let down. They're like, oh man, that'd make things way... I'm not going to lie. Maybe I'm just lazy, but I was like, dude, I don't want to have to... Okay, now go into your DPS gear, tank, because we don't need 2 tanks for this fight. No. What? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, so I'm kind of okay with that just not being a thing. If it ever becomes a thing, I'll learn to do it, but I don't want to. So that's
not too bad when you have hot stuff set up for it.
That's just it. Maybe it wouldn't bother me as much as but right now my mindset is the old way of switching between stuff. So I'm like, oh,
it's annoying. It's annoying to set up. It takes a while to set up, but once you have them, I just smack 7 on my MMO mouse. And I'm in my trash gear, and then when it's time for the boss, I slap 8 and I'm in my boss gear.
Makes sense. So there's that. next thing, which again, it's Crown Store concerns, I guess, for people, is you can have a mobile one as well. You get an orc who will basically be a mobile armory. And the orc that you can have as a mobile armory apparently, I guess, works exactly the same as the merchants, or what's the one you got for free? The Khajiit,
that's the launder or the fence.
Yeah. Thank you. I was like, why can't I think of the name of the Thieves Guild thing? Yeah, so you could get the fence in game, but it takes a huge percentage of, it's like 30% of what you fence, which is like, nobody uses that because of that. You've got the mobile armory one with the orc. Another thing that people are like, oh, something else you could buy in the Crown Store. I mean, everybody just spent $1 billion on crows that land on our arms and buy our trash. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, T-Dub also said earlier that, ZOS does need to make money since we don't have a required subscription model.
Well, that's,
which is fair.
It is a business. Like,
I mean, it's frustrating for console players because PC players can change it anytime for free.
Right. You guys have a workaround.
So I already, I hear the complaints coming in, and I feel like those are pretty valid. I am glad that something, as an ex-console player, is coming to console that can kind of mimic this in a way. Does still suck that you guys have to pay for some of this, though.
So, and kind of to my thing from earlier, if they had not put in, I mean, we don't have the literal Tamriel Crown Exchange like you do on PC, like with just like an add-on that connects all this shit and you can just scan everything. I mean, we just have people who sell crowns, and there's reputable people, and you just don't just buy crowns in zone chat. Don't do that. That's bad. Yeah, that's bad. Probably not going to go well for you. But there's lots of people who are not trying to be scumbags, and to them, it's more beneficial to buy that and make gold that way. And it's just a different play style.
For a lot of people that don't play a lot and have a lot of money because they have a big cool job, but they work 60 hours a week or something, if that was me, and I would absolutely buy crowns and swap for gold if I wanted to get the Vardenfell house, the Amaya Lake Lodge, which you can you can get that. Never mind. But there are some things you can only get.
Telvanni Mushroom Tower, that one.
Yeah,
that
Mushroom
one,
Tower.
That one. Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah. And that's just it. That has, since that's been implemented, I love that system. I buy the chapter each year. I mean, kind of the weird thing, which I've had a surprising amount of people that have stopped by my stream, I guess thought I was lying or something when they realize I play the game unsubbed. I play the game a lot, but I play the game unsubbed most of the time. Every now and then I'll sub if I feel like whatever. But it is playable unsubbed. Is it inventory management galore? Absolutely. I'm not going to tell anybody it's not, but it's totally doable. And I have all the DLC. And to be fair, other than the chapter that I buy because I like buying the douchebag editions, I buy them off people with gold because I have plenty of gold and no purpose to it. So that's my purpose to gold. So I don't know, that being able to earn it in game to me is totally fine since that system was added. If I didn't have that option, this would probably stick in my craw a bit because I'd be like, oh, what the hell? But just because the option is there, it's a fight I really just don't have any interest in personally. Yeah. So, I mean, I get it if people do, but
I think the only people it's going to sting for is people who don't have a lot of time to play to farm the gold and also don't have a lot of money to throw at it.
Which if that's your situation, I get it. It makes sense that that's annoying because it is. Because as much as this game is great and it has a lot of quality stuff isn't cheap. Nobody will mistake.
No, it is not.
Nobody will say Bethesda products of any type are really cheap. Most of them there are, you get some decent stuff, but it's not inexpensive. And
we love you housing streamers.
Yeah, oh my lord.
May God guide you in your quest.
Yeah, oh boy. So that was a little contentious, so to speak.
Yeah.
But overall, seems like a really good addition. There's no real drawbacks to it other than, I mean, the fact that if you want to use it, it could cost you a decent amount of money. Outside that, if you don't want to use it, you can just continue to go back about playing the previous way. Like nothing changes for you. Obviously, the new zone will be a purchasable thing, or you get it with ESO Plus. Whatever, looks cool. I actually kind of didn't really want to pay too much attention to it. They seem pretty adamant about not spoiling anything, but I didn't really. It wouldn't be the first time that they've shown more than I wanted to see in regards to something like that. So I'm like, we're gonna skip that a bit. But then the other thing is there are balance changes, I guess, so to speak, coming to sets, to classes, to everything, where the continued emphasis on hybridization is continuing, which
yeah
there you go. That's really,
I don't know, I really don't like the hybrid stuff. It's like, it's fine there, there's a place for it, you can do your thing, but like I very much like feeling unique in a class that I'm playing, like stuff that makes me feel like I'm playing basically the same thing, but just with 2 or 3 skills changed, especially for DPS. Like, even between Magicka builds, you still have Wall of Elements,
right.
You still have
Most
your
of it's
spammable, you still have whatever. Like, it's similar, but especially with stuff like Necromancer compared to a Nightblade, it feels so much different because while they're similar in many ways, like, the rotations are completely different. So my only like worry with hybridization stuff is that there's going to be a almost cookie cutter type build with a good hybrid set that goes on every DPS that just kind of like makes everything feel real vanilla between all the classes. So as long as that doesn't happen and they tread lightly, I'm cool with it.
Kind of like how so much of a lot of healing classes are just resto staff skills.
Yeah. It's hard to feel unique, and really, like, it's same thing for tank stuff too. A lot of the time, my Nightblade and my DK and my not Necro, but my Warden tank too. Like, even though there are a handful of different skills, feel really similar. That's one thing that I think some other games shine a little bit better in. ESO, of course, is still amazing in that factor, but some other places shine a little bit better that way. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see more uniqueness built into a class's kit. I mean, really, that's why I was so excited back when Warden was released too, is because it felt so cool and and same thing with Necromancer.
I was going to say, big thing. I heard that a lot with Necromancer. They're like, wow, this is really different. Like, And
that's really how I felt until I got into in-game trials with Necromancer. I was using mostly class healing skills until I got into trials, and then I had to use more of the same skills that everybody else uses.
And there's stuff like you throwing a grasp, like who's running grasp, like someone's got to run grasp, like Pixie, can you throw on grasp?
Right.
Like
Colossus if we don't have enough
Colossus,
necros.
Colossus was such a godsend. Like, please give me something to do as a DPS. Like, I'm so like, please let me go in a portal. Let me go do something besides just beat the crap out of the boss in every single fight. Like, let me jump in a tomb. I would like to do things.
Right.
And Colossus added to that, which was nice.
Yeah, and it, to your point, it's actually pretty funny because like that's one of the things in my GH group. People, like, everybody volunteers for portals. Like, it's just, I'll do portals. Can I solo portals? I'll do portals.
Can I do portals? Can I solo, please?
Yeah, and
please let me do a thing.
That's the thing, which was so funny because like as we were practicing, now we're at the point where it's just like we just need a run to just happen. Like,
please don't make me be the orb slayer.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, people are just like, for the longest time, it's like, can I solo orb? Like, just
when I was doing Griffinheart stuff, like, I loved optimizing portals. It's so much fun. Like, I had it down to like the specific skills and amount of light attacks I would do on every single crystal to make sure it was down.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's like that's very much the situation. We had a lot of people just like fighting over like, oh, I totally want to do that. Oh, wait, do we need two people? It's like, well, we're going for Griffinheart. Well, we don't need time. We need everybody to be alive. So then it was like, all right. Fine. Like, well,
that
two
funny
people.
enough, like, yeah, there's another spot where ESO just shines way above other games too. Is the different strat for each boss, at least compared to other games played. ESO shines there.
It's funny because on that point, when we were looking at strategies, originally it started, way back without boring you guys again this started as a purple group so that we could okay, let's get skins for people who don't have skins, because there were 8 of us who didn't. So they're like, all right, let's get skins.
Right.
And
I still don't have my skin for that.
Well, the thing was, the couple people that had it in the group were they were the ones who set it up for us and created this empty soul gem. So it was kind of funny because they were like, all right, we're going to do this ultra safe. And we only stacked the first boss on Zamaja.
Oh, wow.
Right? And people were like, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh, we're stacking the others to the side, because then actually the original
slow roll it.
We did slow roll it because we didn't care about anything at that point except clearing.
Right.
And the other thing was, without going overly in depth to, hey, here's the ins and outs of Cloud Rest Vet +3 mechanics.
Right.
There's a lot happening in that trial.
Oh my God.
And
it's a mess.
Yeah, and
I
you need a lot of coordination. And one of the things is, usually you learn in tiers, you add one, and each one adds a mechanic. And it comes to learning the mechanics of the mini bosses while juggling what's happening in the thing. And the big one that throws a wrench in everybody's is fighting a mini while creepers come up and silence people. And
that's hell.
Yes. And the thing that at the time, I had no idea why, the reason they had me off tank 2 of the minis in center was so that the creeper vines during the fight would target me or the other healer who was kite healing, and it wouldn't hit anybody in the group, confusing them, because it targets the farthest person away. So while people are learning how to deal with creepers, it actually made everybody not have to worry about being silenced while trying to learn where these creepers are coming from. Then once we got purple a bunch of times, and we're like, all right, let's go progress. Then it became, okay, stack that crap on Zamaja and melt it, because now we need fast and we need, nobody to die or whatever. So what the hell? Why did we get onto VCR 3 actually? How did we get here?
I don't remember.
I don't know either. We were talking about
switching gear sets and trials, I guess, would kind of be we'll go with that. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, hybridization and switching stuff.
Oh,
That's
yeah, hybridization.
Man, see, it's smooth as...
We found the trail.
But yeah, because everything, kind of has a similar feel, most of the DPS in there are hit Zamaja, hit the mini, and then it was okay, it was exciting for somebody, I guess, to go down in Portal. That was the exciting bit. But there's so much, it's like you said, you get a little cookie cuttery. If you then start mixing stamina and magicka getting fused like that,
that's where the line starts to get blurred. And while I love the idea of having a bow on my back bar and a staff on my front bar,
sure.
I just worry because of ESO's ecosystem of gear sets and non-class ability skill lines that get worked in there, that it just might get run all Fighters Guild and Mages Guild, and
it's homogenized to the point that it's just
stuff.
Everybody's the same.
Yeah, that everyone's running, Endless Hail and
right,
and Ellie Weapon and all that stuff. Yeah, as long as they play their cards right, I think it will be really cool, especially for solo, because solo stuff is where hybrid stuff shines.
Oh yeah,
so
100%. Yeah. That's definitely the go-to.
Yeah, so I'd love to see some unique, cool ideas for Maelstrom builds and Addershron builds, and even boss soloing and Mission and I for a long time got into two-manning dungeon hard modes for a while, which is fun. But I love doing stuff like that. It's a little bit unique, but but yeah, how did we get here? Yeah,
It's just a tagline for the show.
right.
Yeah,
So
it's accurate.
yeah, it is. It's very accurate. How did we get here? No, I'm just kidding.
No, right.
So yeah, the other thing, there's obviously going to be, we're not going to super delve in depth. This is more of just like our overview. The other thing that's worth noting, other than DKs are getting some adjustments. I'm not sure about the other classes. I just know that I heard DKs are getting adjustments.
Man, DKs need some love, DPS wise.
Unless,
I hope
yeah,
they got
unless
it. I
you're
haven't
a
read
tank.
the notes.
Sure do.
unless you're a tank.
Yeah.
DKs need some love. I would love to jump on my mag DK. I miss the asylum staff days because that was so much fun to play.
And the other thing that I figure is worth mentioning is proc sets apparently will re-trigger crits now, is what I've...
Oh.
I believe that was the note that I saw.
Ooh, wait.
So that was obviously taken out. So
yeah,
from my understanding...
Does that mean Scoria is going to be good again for PvE?
I don't know.
Because that was, I might be wrong, but I think because back in the Dizzy, Valken Scoria was the set to run in PvE.
I do remember that.
If I remember right, I think when they changed the crits on the procs, that's when Valken Scoria got knocked down a couple pegs. So if they're putting it back. Because I would love to run Valken Scoria on my Mac.
Yes.
I love that set.
So, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, from my understanding, yes, proc sets will, at least in the preliminaries of this, is proc sets are apparently going to crit again. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Actually, wait. Oh, no, I'm thinking of... Sorry, I'm like arguing with myself in my head. It was the burning proc thing change that made Mauve the Infernal bad. Huh. Interesting.
Oh, man, I really hope the mom. Oh no, please.
I hated that so much.
Yeah,
I hated that. So that was because the Maw that it would proc would also proc burning, which I don't think they're going to change that back. Please God, don't. I don't want to see a million Maws again.
Tanking like that is borderline impossible.
All of the Jeffs.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's. That it's bad enough with the Colossus. It's like, oh, my Colossus. I'm like, cool, I'm blind. Get that animation off my... Yeah, it's like, I really hope that my block didn't drop so that I need to dodge roll because I can't see. But yeah, so those are the big bullet points that I figure were worth covering for us.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, didn't they... I think I read, too, because I read a couple things from Skinny and Nephis. I think they're capping crit now too. I think I saw that.
Really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
because I feel like a lot of this is going to be like, this is why I'm not usually too hung up on exacts, because so much of this changes throughout PTS. Isn't PTS usually like 5 weeks? I don't do PTS, so I'm...
Yeah, it's normally like the first round of the PTS are the huge changes, and then there's usually a big overcorrection the second round of the PTS, and then it kind of comes together for the last 3 weeks, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't remember specifically, but I remember seeing something about capping crit. Don't kill me, please.
It's fine. Yeah, okay. And I was going to say, Cobra mentions the same thing. He heard about a crit cap too. So, yeah. So
the only thing I worry about there is it like subtly nerfing like Medusa and Mother Sorrow and like sets that have been good for so long,
right?
Where it's like, but then at the same time, it's way easier to go farm sets now. Way easier to get transmutes. Way easier to transmute stuff. Sticker book.
True.
I don't know if it's if it's bad or not, but I guess
it'll be and even with the change sticker book, it's going to be even easier to fill that out to get what you need.
For sure.
It's I don't know. From a tank perspective, just don't nerf your DPS, because the more DPS you all do, the less time I have to do my thing. So
right.
Same.
Yeah. So
As evidenced by tonight for me.
True.
Well, see, now that is a first-class segue, which I'm going to make sure to point out so that we kind of butcher the segue with the segue.
Podcasters.
Yep. But why don't you tell us about? We mentioned there aren't a lot of tales, but why don't we cover tales? And you guys can go first because that pretty much leads us right into ResFest.
God. So last week I made a new tune, so not a whole lot to report there. I did make a Magicka Nightblade. Didn't really get her very, very far, but tonight Bard reminded us that he had not yet done Dreadseller. So we're like, all right, cool. Like there's 3 of us. We just need to pug one person, so we can go ahead and get that done for you tonight. So at first, we're like, all right, what are the chances we get like a whole bunch of bad tanks in a row? So we decide I'll go in on heals because that's my strongest class or strongest role, and then Braun and Bard will DPS. So then we queue, we get a pug tank, and that tank, he's taking advice, he's trying really hard, we feel really bad, but he's just not quite there yet. So we had to kick him. He was 300 CP. He just wasn't able to tank all the things, and that was the one that we felt really, really bad about. Then the next guy
a little bad.
I
A little
felt real
bad.
I didn't feel that bad. I gave him direction and he didn't take it. Not my fault.
He tried to take it. He just wasn't there yet.
I mean, I saw him get 1 in a row. So he did get the 1.
There was an attempt.
An attempt was made.
Yeah.
So
The real trick was the fact that he thought the fight was over after the first one. Had you
Right.
just done
After
more
the first
DPS,
interrupt,
the fight
it's
would have
done.
been over. So then
oh,
he
that's
would.
not that guy. This is a different dude.
Oh, I
So
just
then-
think that's the universal
Tank
theory.
1.
Yeah, Tank 1 was. I was
There was 3
confused. Yeah, to be fair, like. I was confused at what point. I thought you wanted him to be hitting all of the ranged interrupts at first too, which if you can do that, yes, take it. Like anybody can hit the ranged one because you got the mage off in the distance. But like I didn't realize at first until I noticed that there was like, oh my god, they're not even hitting the one that's literally in their shield. Like what is happening?
In his face, sitting right there. Like I was hitting the mage. We were fine with the mage. It was the boss's interrupt. And I was like, please, when the red squigglies come up, go ahead and hold your right mouse button and click your left mouse button.
It literally threw me off when that was happening because it was like, oh, that's not what he's doing? I was like, oh, I just thought you were putting a lot of pressure. That's like, yeah, well, obviously you hit the one that's right in front of you. And then it's like, well, I mean, kind of at least with our group, it's like, well, yeah, anybody hits the ranged one that can get it.
Like you see it, it's like a reflex. It's like, oh, red squigglies, get them.
Right, but it's like, yeah, the one up front, it's like, dude, who can be more close to just hit the other thing? You're already blocking. Just hit the other thing.
You're already blocking. Just you're fine. Click the thing.
Yeah.
So after the first one left, while we were queued waiting for another pug tank, Braun went to go make us some more drinks, and it took a minute. So the next guy joined. He came, he started to rush straight towards the boss. I was like, no, wait, just like screaming in group chat. I was like, other DPS went to grab a drink. He'll be back in just a second. Dude waited like 20 seconds and then quit the group. So I'm like, well, that sucks. So then I queued us again for another tank. Braun comes back with drinks, and new guy joins. We die a few times. Same thing. Tank isn't interrupting. Tank isn't doing anything with any of the ads at all. So we're just getting annihilated. And Tank decides to put in group, you need to kill the ads faster, or you need to kill the ads, or there will just be more ads.
Yeah.
To which Braun replied, oh, we need to kill things? Got it.
Kill the things. Got it. Yeah. If you could go ahead and get those interrupts, though, that'd be sick.
Or maybe put the ads into a pile is another thing.
Maybe group the ads.
Yeah.
Maybe also taunt them just as an idea. Maybe.
Or again, because sometimes when there's a lot of trash happening from a tank's perspective, you can't physically puncture everything. But I get into the fact that I've done Dreadseller too. You can talon them in place as well. So it's like there are options because tanking is, if you were needed to tank literally everything in every fight, no one would ever clear anything.
I mean, if that were the case, there'd be an AoE taunt in ESO.
Valid. There you go. Like, exactly.
You can do it. I mean, there's soft taunting in ESO too.
Right.
You know.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Like you can get it done. You don't have to puncture everything.
No, but, you chain things in. You get 2 or 3 seconds worth of they're paying attention to you.
I think it's 3.
Yeah, you get generally if it's something big too, and it actually will chain. The idea is chain and puncture, like, and then if it's something crappy, you just chain it in, and it'll probably be dead before it moves too far away.
Right, yeah.
And then, so after that guy got kicked inevitably, Braun decided, okay, we all just talked about it. Braun swapped from DPS to tank, and we're like, okay, how hard can it be to get a DPS who knows what they're doing? Apparently the answer is very. So,
oh, my sweet summer child.
Yeah.
We eventually got to the final boss.
It wasn't bad. Once I was tanking, it was okay. And then then the final
we got to the final boss. This is when we discovered that the DPS that we had come in had no idea how to res characters. So
it's a common DPS trait. Not knowing how to res.
It's a feature.
It's a feature, yeah.
It was just on Braun and I and Bard to res. Other guy was not resing at all.
Yeah. I was very accustomed to hitting my igneous shield and green dragon blood. And all right, let's hope this works.
Yep.
Please don't hit me with anything hard.
Yep.
Then after a few pulls of that, we gave up. Because we had been in there for over 2 hours at that point, and we were just done with it. It was time for the show. That's my tales.
So,
good time.
Dreadseller. All right, so we haven't had a show. Last show, we all drunkenly discussed, without spoiling anything, what the new dungeons were. And since then, there has been console launch, so I have played through the new dungeons. We went through totally blind on launch night last week when they launched. We did some of the hard. We didn't 100% hard mode either of them on launch night because we had some timing problems. We had a group run through. In fact, Hazard and Delta are both in chat. They were both part of the crew, and we had some issues with. Some people's things didn't update when it was in rest mode, so that held us up. And then one of the people was missing in action, like that, so they weren't around. So we kind of just, like on launch night, we decided we're just going to fudge this. We're just going to, whatever we can, anybody who's not currently in these dungeons, we're going in these dungeons. And we had 3 of our usual crew, and then actually... the healer that I run with in my trifecta team, she was like, hey, I mean, if people are looking to run dungeons, I'll totally sign on and run some dungeons. They're like, sure, let's do this. So we go through Red Petal Bastion first because I had heard that was easier. Did the first 2 hard modes without looking anything up. Got into the final hard mode, but ran out of time before somebody had to, one of the DPSs had to bail. So we were like, well, we'll just knock it out so that we can clear it. Neat dungeon, like the secrets, pretty cool. Doesn't seem over, the last fight seems a little chaotic if you're going for a trifecta, just because there's a lot of shit going on in the finale of that hard mode. But
yes, there is.
Yeah, but
a lot going on.
But at the same time, it's a really fun. I like the dungeon, and it was definitely substantially easier than the other dungeon, because the other one was that one's much more difficult of the 2. But one of the things. Oh, we also found literally all of the secrets in both of the dungeons. So
the secrets were really cool.
They're really cool.
That. We haven't done all the hard modes. I do love all the secrets.
So the secrets are really neat. They're really beneficial. We were shocked at how useful the fire shield thing is.
Yeah,
That was
awesome.
way more damaging than I expected.
It's like 10k DPS or something just on itself.
One of my favorite parts is the longer you stay in block, it amps. So,
I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
So I started trying to perfect perma blocking in some of the fights. And my favorite
block
one,
casting everything you can.
Yeah, so that's just it. So I'll kind of combine both. So I've done both of the dungeons twice. We've gone through the hard modes as well. So like with my other group, we knocked out all the hard modes. Well, the Dread Cellar one, I had to go back in with another group afterwards too, because we had some issues with that one. But what I want to bring up is the second fight of Red Petal Bastion, which seemed much more complicated to us. And it turns out it's because it totally glitched out when we did it blind, and we didn't know that. So, give you a quick synopsis without trying to ruin it. If you totally want to be blind to the new dungeons, maybe skip ahead. But they've been out for, well, over a month on PC and a couple weeks on console. But the idea is you have the main dude, and an archer jumps in and gives him a shield. And then after the shield phase archer, you knock her out, and the shield drops. And then you have this two-hander who comes in to enrage the boss. And then the archer comes back in because she doesn't die. And then the two-hander guy comes back in. And
that two-hander
he amps up that damage a lot. It's very unpleasant.
He hoits.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, that's whatever. Like we thought we had that pin because we were knocking them down and they would get back up when they weren't dead. We were like, oh, okay, so it's kind of like Vast. They're going to keep getting back up. Got it.
Right.
Except what we realized or what we ran into was
they get knocked down and then they get back up again.
That was the problem.
Don't do this.
When Chumbawamba hit the seat, no, she got back up, and she had so much health regen that she was not getting knocked back down again. We couldn't get her below 99% health. So we were like, "Whoa, well, okay, I guess maybe we have to wear out her health regen, or maybe we just hit the boss." So we're hitting the boss, and the boss has got the protective bubble shield. So we're like, well, what the hell are we doing wrong here? Like, okay, maybe we just have to kite them around. Maybe we need both of the minis to come out or something like that. And then we can like KO them together, or maybe they debuff each. So this guy pops out, the two-hander comes out, and we're like, all right, here we go. Start hitting the two-hander's invincible. Health regen is so high, we literally can't move it. We're like, okay, so now he's enraged and has a shield, and both of these minis are kicking the shit out of us because, like, neither of them will take damage. What the hell do we do? So we ran around for a while, and we died because we couldn't hurt anything anymore. And the fight resets, and we're like, what the hell? So we start the next fight, and the first time the archer comes in, health regeneration is so high we literally can't hurt her right off the bat. So like 70%, this fight is over. Like we literally cannot do anything. And we're like, wait, how did we screw that up? So we wiped again because we're like, what is going on? So third one, she pops in. Now she takes damage again. And we're like, all right. Did we do something weird? Like, what are we doing? I was like, well, whatever. Knock her out. So she gets knocked out. Shield drops back down. And we're like, okay, when did the two-hander come in? And we're like, oh, I think it was like 60%. I think it was 60%. 60% comes, 60% goes. And we're like, okay, was it 50%? Archer gets back up. We're like, okay, the archer's back. Where's the two? Whatever, kill the archer again. Whatever. So the archer drops. We're like, okay, so where's the two-hander? We're down to 30% at this point. Still no two-hander. We're like, what did we do to skip the two-hander? Archer gets back up again. We're like, what the hell's going on? Archer is now invincible. And we're like, oh, come on. What is going on?
Same thing happened to us, too. We're like, wait, why didn't the two-hander come out?
Okay.
Wait, what is happening? I'm so confused.
So now she's invincible. The bubble shield is up. And I was like, okay, we've got to be missing something. There's got to be something more to this. Maybe if we sit in the bubble, we can hurt him. So we all ran into the bubble.
Dear God.
Oh, no.
And he took massive damage, and we completely melted him.
What? Wait, really?
Hold on. Doesn't that bubble melt you, though?
Nope. We just stood in it, and we nuked him so fast, we were like, the archer just fucked off eventually, because...
What?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I don't know if any of that's supposed to happen.
So much damage whenever the bubble
Yeah, because I guess
us.
we haven't ever looked up the mechanics. 'Cause we
So
just did them blind and haven't been back
all
in
of
there.
that seems to be wrong when you look up the
Oh, really?
mechanics.
Oh, wow.
So the archer comes out...
Hey, whatever works, works.
So the archer comes out at set percentages. The two-hander comes up at set percentages. They have the buff until they're knocked down. There's nothing about them getting invincible amounts of health regen. And it totally is much more straightforward than anything I had been trying to wrap my head around.
It must be like the whole, like, when something's new and you go in with a group that has a lot of deeps, weird stuff can happen.
It can, and that was just it. We were just very confused. So either there's more to that fight that can happen, but I'm pretty sure just the two-hander not showing up, us running in the bubble, and the minis periodically just becoming invincible, but the boss takes massive damage. I don't think that was supposed to. But the thing that was super awkward. We didn't know to report it because we didn't know the mechanics.
Oh. Yeah, because you didn't know.
So I find out about it. My VOD's gone.
Burn it.
So I can't even show anything. And why would I save a clip of us dying at something a whole bunch? It didn't seem worth it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, consider this the best bug report I can do because I just sent one of a vague description, but I was like, there's no evidence of this. Just take my word on it. It's the best I got.
I promised it happened, baby.
Bug report.
Yeah, I did my best. So that was Red Petal. The only other one that the other of the two dungeons, we had actually essentially a pug. Our healer, I think, maybe knew him from guild. I'm not entirely sure, but he wasn't on mic either, which trying to do 3 blind hard modes because he didn't know them either, where one person isn't on comms is going to be brutal. So we kind of just...
tough.
Yeah, so we were just we'll just go through Dread Cellar. So we went through Dread Cellar, got the secrets. FYI, if you want less stress when trying to find the secrets and you want to find them yourself, you can actually clear the dungeon and go back and do the secrets we found out. Because our healer discovered one of the secrets that we missed. We actually that one only had 2 secrets. And we're like, wait, no, it doesn't. It clearly should have 3. She went back and found it, and then we figured it out. And you just get a useless buff after that. But
there you go.
Went through. Interesting fight. Shout out to Rich /Lurk, because Rich decided to raid us in the middle of us trying to figure out the final fight.
That's amazing.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
It was because that was as anybody knows, Rich streams are very busy, and we got to have the added stress of between 40 people to 380 people trying to watch us blind figure out the final.
Hello.
I was like, oh,
welcome.
cool. That's not nerve-wracking at all, because so far all we've figured out is fire equal bad, and that's all we've got for this fight.
We've come to the same conclusion as Frankenstein.
Yes.
We're doing our best here.
Please bear with us.
Frankenstein's monster knows this. Yeah.
But, so we managed to knock that out, and then I went back in that one with my trifecta team and one other team, because that final hard mode is fucking chaos. I don't know if it's I don't think it would necessarily be the hardest thing in the game, but there is so much going on in that hard mode. Have either of you done the hard mode to Dread Cellar, the finale specifically?
No, so we
can get past the first
we can get past the first one with no mechanics. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, without giving much away, the basic premise is portal teleporting, and then there's the fire pinwheel thing in the middle, which is the firewall.
Bullshit tornadoes.
The bullshit tornadoes, and then the one that was our biggest holdup and actually caused us to we ran out of time. We were in there for so long with one group, and then I went in with another group, and we barely got past it. The big holdup is when you go through the portal, because the room's exploding and you have to break one of those crystal obelisk things. if you don't do that, you get a 20 million health death spider. Like the boss, like the first boss of the dungeon, drops in as a surprise with 20 million hit points.
What? That's nice.
That's if you botch
That's
if you botch the teleport mechanic. Like you have to break that obelisk, or that's your punishment.
Oh no.
Ouch.
On the flip side, which we were like, oh, that's just mean, was if you do the mechanic right, you get the first boss with 3 million hit points instead.
Oh no.
Which
the first boss is the fucking worst one too.
So her little spider pinchy things, the snip, 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 snip crap, really rough on stamina. Not the biggest deal. We struggled. It was like, oh man, I was constantly like, God, this is a nightmare. But whatever, we were all right. The problem wasn't the snipping. The problem was when she dropped into the arena, literally before I could puncture her, she would look and just be like, fuck that DPS, and just puke spit across the arena for 32,000 damage and one-shot them.
Hey, you,
like,
there, over there. Fuck you.
I was like, I did not have enough time to get the puncture animation off. And she's like, nah, F you. Or this run, F you. And I'm like, dude, this is miserable. Like, what? She's targeting somebody before she's in geometry. Like, come on. So that was rough. But the main thing that I would like to say that is just spiteful about that thing, and requires so much movement, because as is, there's so much movement in these fights. So like our healer was running Olo, and she was like, it's a huge mistake that I'm running Olo. We're just going to throw this away forever.
Not
for this place.
It's an SPC fight. It's not a Sororia fight.
So
yeah, all the boss fights are very, very mobile.
And if you want to have the last boss fight be even more mobile, because there's not enough mobility, for the hard mode, you need to strategically change where you hold the boss throughout the fight. Because you know the little, like, I don't know, it's like a laser wheel thing with, like, the little fire jet that flies out, and you kind of, like, dodge roll them, but you light on fire anyways, briefly.
Yeah.
Where you're standing when it goes off leaves a never-ending pool of lava.
Oh, perfect.
So the longer the fight goes on, lava pools just fill the arena. Every time you dodge roll that, lava pool. So while we were figuring out, we had like 21 lava pools on the map because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. But yeah, it is an intense fight. It's super fun. I like both the new dungeons. But yeah, that final one is a lot. So I don't know. Good luck when you do that one. It's definitely fun, but like the only slight issue, which isn't so bad for PS5, and I super feel bad for people on last gen playing it, when you go through the portal, there's the potential of a load screen. That load screen is a thing on last gen.
Yikes.
So yeah, I don't know.
Ouch.
It's not that those mechanics shouldn't exist, because that's kind of a weird thing to cater for. But it very much reminded me of with Frostvault at one point, where when you would come out of Skeever phase.
Going down to the Skeever phase, yep.
Yeah, so there's the potential for things to not go so great if you get stuck in a lot of load screen, because I actually... most of the time I don't. For whatever reason, I think it was just a server hiccup. I ended up in a load screen once. The boss does not acknowledge the fact that you're in a load screen and will uppercut the shit out of you while you're loading. So...
Oh, no.
Yeah, so nothing pauses. So that's just kind of a rough side effect there. But overall, definitely like both the new dungeons. And yeah, excited to... I don't know. Those are going to be rough to trifecta, I think. Specifically Dreadseller, but I need the Dreadseller one, because in closing, it's a Battlespire reference. How?
You have to get that.
How? Why?
You have to.
Shout out to Lee Mantello for actually coming up with, like... Because you know that very few people probably
Very
even
few people
acknowledge
will get-
anything about that game.
Yeah.
The fact that it's got like a Battlespire
That's
thing,
a deep cut.
it is a deep cut. Also, the Dreaded is a really cool title.
Yes.
That's a very cool title. But yeah, so that's pretty much the extent of my stuff. You guys have any final thoughts from patch notes, tales, any of that good stuff?
That wraps it up for me.
Yeah.
Same, yeah. Really, the only other really worthy thing is I love that we got 6 hard modes.
Yes.
That's always nice.
That is.
I think it's the first DLC we've
Where
had 2
both of
triple
them.
hard mode
Right,
dungeons.
yeah.
Yeah, and
which
they
is
come with
sick.
a full swath of secrets. Not even
Yeah,
the same ones,
love
which
that.
I was pretty impressed with. They were different
Yeah.
secrets, because I don't want to give the secrets away. I mean, but the secrets weren't just stand on the thing and then something happens anymore. Like, there's a
Yeah.
little of that, but there ended up being a lot more to this, which I really liked. Because some of them took us a second to like, oh, okay, so this goes like this, and this is timed, and this is neat. And the benefits of them are really good. Do not sleep on the secrets, especially in Dread
Well,
Cellar.
it's like, yeah, especially in Dread Cellar. Well, it's cool. I loved specifically in Dread Cellar that they went away from, like, not that I don't like Stone Garden. I hate the second boss with every fiber of my being. I
Most
hate
people
it
do.
so much.
I have
The
to
other-
hear
the
a
other ones
weekly
I
rant
love,
about the second boss in Stone Garden.
Don't take away my magicka, please, please. I hate it.
I mean, to be fair, I have the same statement about trying to do the last boss. Don't take away my health.
Yeah.
Stop it. That is way too much
Please.
damage.
Please don't take my health. But I love that they went away from just the like, hey, here's some extra mag, here's some extra spell damage, here's some extra stats. To like, dude, if you block, you get a flamethrower. Here's this. Have
Yes.
fun.
And, and
That is super cool.
Dread Cellar is I won't even say what Dread Cellar is. The finale, if you have all 3 secrets, let's just say you can make it like a 7v1 for the finale instead of just the 4 of you. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So definitely try to find those. They're totally worth it, and they help a shit ton.
Very in Dread Cellar, my God. So helpful.
So
The secret.
helpful. And when you
So
do it,
helpful.
and you also get free reses when you use it in Dread Cellar.
And that's always welcome.
Yeah, it's basically just a free
I love
necro
free
res.
res.
Yep.
Yep. I'll take that.
But yeah, so I guess that'll probably cover, well, going into PTS. Next time we'll have more concrete of here's what's changed, here's what seems like it's sticking and all of that. But yeah, I guess we can just close things up. I don't know. Pixie, where can everybody find you?
You can find me over at twitch.tv/HyperPixie Gaming, and if I can, go ahead and plug this.
I was going to say, don't forget your extra project.
Yeah, so Braun and I are actually starting a whole new project. We're not leaving ESO by any means, but we were really blown away by the New World beta. So in addition to doing Tales, Braun and I are starting our own podcast starting tomorrow, Sunday night, on my channel at HyperPixie Gaming on Twitch. It's called The Nautical Nomads, and it's a New World podcast, and we're really excited about it.
There you go. So I was going to say, I know there's so much overlap. A lot of people have liked New World. So yeah, it seemed pretty on brand to even just be like, okay, well, we're doing 2 projects now. So
Yep.
And Brum, where can everybody find you when you're not joining us as our resident DPS at this point?
Yeah. When I'm not the DPS sub, you can find me at twitch.tv/BronSolo22, Twitter the same, and yeah, we're starting the New World podcast, Nautical Nomads. Super excited for that, and always happy to be here too.
Yeah.
To give some DPS stuff.
Look,
it's always fun.
Everybody missed Sons of Sithis. This is just it needed to happen.
Old
You never
Ghosts.
guested during that period
I know.
of time. So
We talked about it in Vegas too. It's
yeah,
just we
as well as like online like 4 times, and it never happened. Yeah,
I know, we
collaborations
DM'd about it a
are a
couple times,
mess.
like,
We're
sure, man.
so
Yeah, let me know.
bad
I will
at
figure it
this.
out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's only right that now you just get to carry on both of your shows just via here.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you can find me, Lotus of Doom, everywhere at Lotus of Doom that I have an account, Twitch, Twitter. I'm trying to figure out some way that I can stream on Sundays because I miss streaming on Sundays. The only problem is football, and I'm a huge football fanatic, so it's been tricky.
Go Steelers.
Steelers?
Jaguars.
All right, whatever. I'm a Chargers fan. I'm not giving anybody shit. Who am I kidding?
He's wearing freaking Steelers shirts around the house, and I'm a Jags fan. So this is
Yep, there we go.
It's not a point of contention.
I mean, the Steelers have the fun option of like everyone just thinks we're their rivals, like the Jags.
That's true, actually.
It's one of those teams where just like,
Jags
oh yeah,
will
we
beat your
hate the
ass.
Steelers. Yeah,
Okay.
we're the rivals. They're like,
We're
I mean,
the
the Browns are our rivals, and the Ravens are kind of too. Really, everyone is. So.
Yeah. I'd say the Bungles are, but they don't show up to games. But yeah, so ideally, if I can figure stuff out, I'm actually trying to set up a third screen so that I can watch football, stream, and play ESO or something.
Just be a football stream commentator.
That's kind of, I figure what I'll do is, whatever, Twitch will ban me if I show football.
True.
We'll just have the soothing sounds of football from my third monitor, and we discuss football while playing ESO or something. So hopefully I can get that figured out so I can stream on Sundays again, as it's been a bit of a mess. But otherwise, you can find everything we do over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. Also, normally the show is recorded at Arkaniir's Quest when Ark is actually awake, but real life jobbing is causing some issues, and time zones are rough, especially when you live in Turkey and the rest of us are here in the States. But either way, you can find all of our links, including our social media, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Discord over on dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork if you want to help support the show, and consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes it matters. Also, when Ark comes back, I can see all the iTunes reviews and we can shout you guys out. We're slightly restricted on that because I haven't been able to access that. So soon shout outs. Thank you everybody for joining us on this kind of spur of the moment again tales, but this time we were sober, and we'll see you all next time. Everybody have a great week in Tamriel. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
When Akatosh slew Lorcan, he ripped his heart right out. He hurled it across Tamriel, and the heart was heard to shout, red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. The laughing heart sprayed blood afar, a gout on Seer it fell, and like a dart shot to its mark down in an alien well. Magic effused the Lorcan blood to crystal red and strong. Then wild elves cut and polished it down to chimel at a ball. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. When elves lost Nirn to men, Akatosh gave the stone to Saint Alesh in token of her right to sit the throne. Red diamond, the heart and soul of men. Red diamond, protect us till the end. Red diamond, protect us till the end.